Good morning, Mr. Curtis Bundy. My name is Isaac Ewosho. I have a few questions to ask you today. My understanding is you're the librarian for scholarly communications and collections here at Iowa State University. Could you tell us a little bit more about your role and what you do here?
Sure. So the position that I occupy is one of two associate university librarian roles in the library. So the library is organizationally broken into two major divisions. And so the division I oversee includes the collections program. So that's all of the materials that we buy, electronic resources, and it also includes the public service desk. So if you come into the library and you see the staff at the desk, those folks are in my area. Our branch library out at Vet Med and the storage building. So those are a few of the areas that are in my purview.
Thank you very much. If you do not mind, can you walk us through the process of securing open access publishing for the library?
Yeah, so this has really changed a lot in the last, I would say, probably 5 to 7 years. So traditionally, when libraries make agreements with commercial publishers, it would be a subscription agreement, and it would give students and faculty and staff the ability to read the articles that are being published. So let's say we're talking about our agreement with Elsevier, which is the largest commercial publisher. That agreement would allow folks to read the articles, but it would not cover any publishing. The types of agreements that we're making today and a lot of other libraries around the world are making both provide that read access, but it also will include a publishing component, an open access publishing component. So for example, our agreement today with Wiley, which has a lot of engineering titles, has a lot of animal science, vet med titles, it allows our researchers, when they publish with Wiley, the open access charges are all covered centrally through that agreement. The way open access has worked in the past is usually researchers would have to pay an article processing charge. And these can range from $1,500 all the way up to, if you want to publish open access in Nature, for example, one of the best journals in the world, it's $10,000 to publish open access in Nature. So through these types of agreements, the library is supporting faculty and researchers across campus and students. Students can publish under these agreements as well. And why would they want to publish open access? Well, an open access article can be read anywhere in the world. So if you are working in a hospital in Kenya and you want access to a research article, if it's published open access, you will be able to read that article. If you're at a university in Brazil, you'll be able to read that article. So what happens with an open access article is it's read more and it ends up being cited more. So the impact of the research, when you share those things openly, it's just magnified by, I don't know if it's an order of magnitude, but it's a lot. And you see this across the publishers when they switch their portfolio over to open access, citations and downloads really go through the roof. And as a land-grant university, Iowa State, it's part of our mission to share the knowledge that we create with Iowa and the world. So there's a lot of mission alignment with this effort as well.
How close are we to achieving that goal of open access materials at Iowa State University?
Yeah, that's a great question because it's not that easy. It's actually a very complicated marketplace, scholarly publishing. And so you have large commercial companies that control, probably over 50% of the publishing, and they make a lot of money on it. And so as we try to transition from traditional subscriptions to open access, they want to make sure that their business is not threatened. It's just very complicated. If we could throw a switch and do it, it would have been done a long time ago. But currently, the agreements that we have at Iowa State are probably covering 24% of the corresponding authored articles, and that's kind of a tricky term to understand. But if you're working on a research project with 3 other researchers and you're going to submit that work for publication, one of the 3 of the researchers will be the corresponding author. So if that corresponding author is an Iowa State author under our agreements, then we would cover it. If you're partnering with someone from University of Wisconsin-Madison and they're the corresponding author, then it would fall under their agreements. So there's a lot of complexity here, and there's a lot of work being done actually at the federal level around this. There's new guidance coming out of the Office of Science and Technology out of the White House that's going to require public access for any publications coming out of publicly funded research. And all of those new requirements are going to be hitting in next year and in 2026. So lots more to come. That's also what makes it complicated, because the rules that govern the grants are actually changing as we're trying to make these agreements. So everyone's trying to figure out a path forward.
How does your work impact faculty researchers?
Yeah, I mentioned, just the ability to help cover the open access publishing, which is gonna, a big part of, securing NSF grants is that you're going to have an impact. You're going to have an impact on society. And so through publishing open access, like, your work is being read across the state. So as the agreements that the library has that allows a faculty member to publish open access, that means that that work can be read. It's somebody in agronomy, like if they publish open access under the library's agreements, their work can be read across Iowa, across every one of the 99 extension offices around the state. So it really is broadening the reach of the work and the impact. So I would say that's the primary way.
Would this apply to student researchers, specifically graduate students working on their dissertation thesis or pursuing an advanced degree?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because the agreements cover anyone from Iowa State, like, a grad student would have the same right to publish underneath these agreements as a faculty member. Undergrads don't do a lot of publishing. I feel like they benefit greatly from the access side of it. Sometimes you're traveling as an undergrad and maybe trying to authenticate through the Iowa State system is a little bit complicated. If these articles are just out there open access, you can just do a search through Google Scholar and get to them very easily. There's no barriers.
I understand that your work focuses on participating in working groups and communities of practice focused on library reserves, interlibrary loan, and research data services. What is new this year for students that you want all students to know about?
Yeah, I would mention just a couple things. I think for the course reserves and the interlibrary loan, there is a new flat fee model for textbooks on campus. And so we're doing a lot of work. Like right now, I don't know exactly what that price is. It could be $290 that every student is being charged under this new program. And the reason that it's $290 is because they look across all of campus and they look at how many textbooks are being used across campus, and they set that fee. So if we want that fee to come down, then we need to have faculty doing things like, interlibrary loan, course reserves, using open resources like open educational resources. So the library is very involved with all of that, and it's really an affordability initiative. It's something that we do to try and help control the cost of course materials on campus. And then the second thing I would just mention with research data services, it is now being pretty well established that sharing and reuse of research data is basically good science. Like, if you want your work to be reproducible, it's not enough just to publish an article about it. You also need to share your data. So the library has invested, and we do a lot of work with the Vice President for Research Office and with Campus IT to build out an infrastructure so faculty and researchers and students, if they're doing undergraduate research, can share that data. So that's another initiative that we're putting a lot of effort into right now.
And what is new for faculty that you would like faculty to know?
All of those same things, every one of those things, we need them to partner with us. So if we're talking about open educational resources, like, we need them to partner with us, and we can help them find free materials to help control the cost. And faculty, we are hosting joint trainings with, like, the Translational AI Center on how to just methods and analysis techniques using, deep learning. So there's a lot of really interesting workshops and things going on in the area of research data right now. I think everyone is intrigued by the new AI research methods. And so we're trying to support all of that, as well as not just a place to share and curate and preserve your data, but also the library is a place where you can come to learn advanced AI techniques in order to analyze your data. So those would be some things faculty might be interested in.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bundy. I appreciate your time and for explaining the process of gathering scholarly communication and collections. I do really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much.